y'all, it's your girl D back with another video. This is another book review. So I just finished the audiobook called The Perfect Day to Boss Up by Rick Ross, and this is what I thought about it, y'all. If y'all know Rick Ross, you know his music and things like that. He's a producer, rapper, all of those things in the game. He's been around for a minute, and he wrote in the 2000s, the 99s and the 2000s. I think more of the 2000s he started coming out mainstream. So that's where I first heard Rick Ross with like Hustle and Boss and all those songs. So let's get into it. This book is an 18-chapter book. It's not a long read. I did an Audible book because I love audiobooks. It gives me the opportunity to focus on the content, take my notes if I want to take notes, all that good stuff. So I'm just going to go over the takeaways. I have a ton of notes, but I think I'm not going to go over all of that because it'll be a long video. So I'm going to go through chapter 1, chapter 2, all of that, and give you my biggest takeaways. So the biggest takeaway for chapter 1 is tunnel vision or focus can be a gift or a curse. Don't lose sight. Keep, focus on the bigger picture, but always be willing to take a step back and reassess the situation. Chapter 2, no excuses. That speaks for itself. We know what it is. No excuses when you're trying to get to success. Chapter 3, the biggest takeaway is a lot of us trying to look successful, but a lot of us are not successful. So looking successful versus being successful, which one do you want to be? Chapter 4, narrow your focus and master one thing. He talks about being a jack of all trades, and we've all heard that particular saying, a jack of all trades, a master of none, and this is what this chapter is about, chapter 4. Let me stick on chapter 4 for real quick, because there was another note that I put. It was about being productive versus being active, right? Which is, a lot of us are active and doing different things, myself included, but we're not productive. Like, we got all these little things, side projects going on, but is that really productive? It may or may not be. So being active, being productive, not active. That's another takeaway from that chapter. There's so many good gems in here, y'all. I don't want to miss anything, but I don't want to make this video super, super long. I want y'all to read the book for yourself. Chapter 5, being the CEO of your life, meaning taking control, evaluate timing, how you spending your time. This is a very crucial point. I mean, a lot of people have said it, especially a lot of successful people. They tell you about how you spend your time affects your outcome. So we got to be mindful of that as well. Chapter 6, don't try to do it all by yourself. Enough said. Let's see, which one other thing. So chapter 7, stack your paper. Not living beyond your means. We hear a lot of the financial gurus talking about that all the time, about living within your means, living below your means if you can. And going back to chapter 3, do we want to look like we're successful, or do we actually want to be successful and have the money, disposable income, multiple sources of income, all that good stuff behind the scenes? So that's a good takeaway. Chapter 8, stay ready. Stay ready. That's it. Chapter 9, be ambitious and outwork the rest of your competition, right? Because everybody wants to be successful, but what are we all willing to do to actually get there, right? So that chapter is really something that stood out to me, because a lot of us have the ambition, myself included. I have the ambition. I want to be successful. I want to do the things. I want to get to the bag. All of us want to get to the bag, but it's like, what steps do you have to do? Do you have to wake up early? Do you have to work extra? Do you have to, get 2 and 3 jobs while doing your YouTube, while doing whatever other side hustle, freelance work, just so you can get that life that you want to live in the future. So y'all think on that. Chapter 10, this is something I could really work on, and I am really actively working on managing emotions. This book goes over, basically, Rick Ross was talking about how he used to be reactive to different things. Like if something was going wrong in his life, he would, get to head busting, knocking folks out, things like that. But the reality is that your emotions are only temporary. So we shouldn't be reactive in certain situations. Take a step back, reassess our situations, and proceed. Because half the time, a lot of the stuff is not worth it. And when you're trying to be successful, you don't want a lot of, foolishness, coming back to you. So managing your emotions is really important when you start to learn how to become successful, or when you're trying to make those moves. Chapter 11, I really like this point because I was looking at, jobs and things like that from the perspective that he was talking about. So the takeaway from that chapter was, make work something that you're not trying to escape, if that makes sense. So we spend time at work, we do a 9-to-5, we do our part-time jobs, we do whatever. And a lot of the times we don't, hold on. Okay, so a lot of the times we view work as something we go do, we get the money. We don't think about okay, what is the purpose? What is my end goal from this job? I'm not trying to escape it. I'm trying to build skills, or I'm trying to do, whatever. I'm trying to work this job so I can get my money and do what I want to do in the future, right? Or, it shouldn't be something that you want to run away from. So if you're trying to run away from the job, that might mean maybe reevaluate what is it you're doing in your life. And basically, and a lot of us just view it as go, rush home, wait for the weekend, do what we got to do, our real life. And work is a part of our real life. It's not a fake, it's not a fantasy. Some of us have to work, some of us have to do 9-to-5s and things like that. So making work something that you're not trying to escape, so you can enjoy every aspect of your life. And that was a good takeaway for me. I think I'm the type of person, I'm girl, I'm here to get these coins and bounce. But it's work can actually be something that you enjoy, and it can be a part of your life that is fulfilling. So that's a good takeaway from there. Chapter 12. I'm a big advocate for this, and this isn't a new concept. So chapter 12 is about keeping, keep building, keep learning. We are always evolving as people. If you want to be one of the best or one of the greatest, you always have to keep evolving, always have to keep learning and gaining knowledge, and that's what this chapter is about. So yeah, I think keep learning is really big. Chapter 13, the law of attraction. Speak the thing into existence. What is it that you want, and what is it that in your mind that you want to do? Speak it into existence and believe it before everybody else starts to believe it, right? Because nobody's going to believe your dream more so than you. And if you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe in it? Chapter 14. So I'm trying to figure out how to word this, right? So basically, he was saying you have to show your value through what you do. So if you're at a job and you're seeking a promotion, or you're building a brand, or you're, whatever it is that you're doing, you have to show that you have a value in that particular, demonstrate your value, be irreplaceable. It's what else? Be irreplaceable, so that when you go into a building, or when you're marketing your item or your product, people can't say nothing else. They want you. So be irreplaceable, show your value. Chapter 15 is, basically do your research. Know who is running things in the industry or, the job field that you are working in. The more you know about how they became successful or how they got to where they're at, the more you can start to build up yourself based on who you are to acquire the things that you want to acquire. So know who's running things. Chapter 16, he said, what I got from it was have pure intentions, don't do anything out of, dishonesty. Just have pure intentions in what you're doing, and the good things will flow to you. Chapter 17 is turning your your losses or your failures, quote unquote failures, into lessons, right? A lot of us tend to quit when we make mistakes or we fail in our minds. We fail, but it's better to look at it as a teaching moment, right? So what can I get from this? What did I do wrong in this instance? And how can I accept that and make it something positive or make it something beneficial to me? So learn how to turn your losses into lessons. And then chapter 18, this is something I need to work on myself. Not running yourself into the ground. Your health is your wealth, and once you lose that, it's like everything else is not going to fall into place. So the overall of this book, it's raw, it's real, it's sometimes funny. I expected nothing less from, Rick Ross, the boss. Y'all already know. And one thing that did get me was this is like one of those books I had to trust the process when I started it, because he started talking about, everything that was going on in 2020 and, with the panorama and all of that. And I was like, okay, I have to trust the process on this book. Where is it going? Where is it going to take me? And it really took me. This is like one of those, get it out the mud type books. And I don't know a lot about Rick Ross' background. I just learned a little bit from reading this book about what he was actually been through and him growing up, his background and things like that. I didn't know nothing really about him other than what I heard about him being a correctional officer or whatever. But he doesn't say anything new, but I think the demographic and the audience that he can capture is really vast from the normal finance gurus, because he pretty much got it out the mud. Like, it's one of those books where you're seeing somebody who they come from a disadvantaged background and they made something of themselves by straight hustling. And the one thing I really appreciate with him was he talks about putting other people on, but also knowing who is really in your corner, because he's pretty much putting them on, developing people in a way, giving back to his own community and building people up. So I thought that was a really important takeaway from that whole book. The goal of being successful is not necessarily that you yourself are successful. The goal is to be able to influence others to want to get to that level of success as well. So would I recommend this to other people? Absolutely. I found it to be insightful. It was funny in some senses. Once you get past a lot of the he's shamelessly plugging his businesses, and I did not know he owned Wingstop. I was just like, wow, this guy is doing, the things. So y'all go and get this book. Let me know if you've read it. What did you take away from it? Leave some comments and suggest me another book to read. What other books are y'all reading that have given you maybe insight or just for fun, even whether it's manga, whether it's comics, whether it's memoirs. I love me a memoir. So if y'all know any good memoirs, put some down in the comments as well. I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. Until the next one, peace, one love, bye.